Hi everyone, my name is Gemma Horner. I'm a pro artist for Krylon and I've been working with the brand for over 15 years now, and I'm so excited to do a demonstration for you guys. I'm so excited to be here at IMATS virtually. What a great experience. So I hope you enjoy today's demonstration. I am going to be introducing you the brand new product by Krylon called Digital Complexion. So if you're a makeup artist that's working constantly on set, whether that be TV, film, or you're working in photographic makeup, check out this new line because it will be a complete game changer for in your makeup kit. I'm going to talk you through all of the ingredients, the advantages of this new innovative product range that is suited for those high resolution 4K cameras. So check it out. So I'm going to take you through the full Digital Complexion range, from the concealers, neutralizers, the two types of foundation and the finish powder. I'm actually going to demonstrate this on only half of my face so you can really compare the two sides, and you will be able to visibly see the difference of how these are affected on camera. So I have nothing on my skin. As you can see, I've already done my eye makeup. The only thing that is on my skin is a little bit of the Dermacolor moisturizing cream. So I'm going to go directly on with the product so you can see the real effects of the full range. So first of all, I analyze my skin and I see whether I need color correction. Now, when you're working with a high resolution camera and you come across like skin problems, whether that be skin texture or skin discoloration, there's always that fine line and that fine balance whether we use a heavy concealer or a full coverage foundation. But then we don't want to end up with the results of the products looking heavy and cakey, and that's what quite often happens when you're filming or you're doing photographic work, is that you see this skin texture even enhanced more than what the problem was. So this is why we've introduced this beautiful neutralizing range, so you can just pinpoint if you've got any discoloration, whether that be pigmentation, dark circles, any redness, rosacea, etc. And you can just quickly knock that down without it looking heavy or cakey. So through analysing my skin, I always notice I've got like this redness around my nose, on my cheek area. So I'm going to begin to start off with the first neutraliser. This is your Digital Complexion Neutraliser in the shade, this sort of minty colour, which is DCN 41. There are plenty of neutralising colours within the range. I'm just going to hold them all up for you. So this is completely new to Krylon, so some of them may not be available just yet, but you have a full range of colours, so you can sort of pinpoint whether the skin's looking a little bit sallow, you want to reduce some redness, or you want to counteract any of those dark unwanted tones, whether that's pigmentation or dark circles. They are a really beautiful concealer. They've got the right consistency that give you enough coverage without building up too much texture, which we all know the camera loves to highlight and pick up. So they come in these sort of twisty up bottles. So you just use the end here, give that a quick twist, and that will release the product. Now, if you're using this for a consumer purpose, then great, just go ahead, apply it directly. As a working makeup artist, I would recommend decanting that. So I'm just going to take a little bit, obviously these are my personal ones, I'm just going to take that direct over these redness areas that you see here. So if you've got a blemish or rosacea, or just naturally have a flush, or you want to fight that battle knowing it may happen, if you've got a performer that you know goes a little bit red, then this is a good one to sort of just hold that back. I'm going to take a little jewel fibre brush here and just quickly knock that through. Now, these neutralizers are self-setting, which is great, because what that means, normally when I used to use a neutralizer, I would find that I'd have to powder it, lock that colour in, and then you would build up over the top with your concealer or foundation. But the powder layer in between also would pick up texture on camera. So now that this self-sets, I know I can miss out that step, which is great. You've got plenty of working time. It contains photo oil, so it really does keep the skin quite hydrated as well. If you want to add more and build up another layer, then you can absolutely go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you one of the other colours within the neutralizer range too. So before I move on to the next colour, I really love how you can see already it's just diminished that redness from one side to the other, and it looks completely natural. So straight away you think, oh, green, is that going to be suitable? We know with color correction that that's the great color opposite on the color wheel, so this is really good, but it's just the right shade. So the other ones that are very popular are these sort of peaches, rosy pinks, and deeper oranges. So depending on your skin complexion and the area that you're concealing with to neutralize out any of those tones will depend on which one you go for. Now I just want to come a little bit closer to the camera, and you can see I suffer with a little bit of pigmentation across my forehead. Some people think they're freckles, but it's definitely pigmentation, because within sun it darkens a lot. So sometimes I can put a foundation over the top of an area of pigmentation or a dark circle, and this grey shadow pushes through. So I just want to knock that back. And the most common mistake is when people see those grey tones coming through is that they layer more foundation, they layer more product, and then we get that risk of it not connecting to the skin, so you don't get the longevity, and then you also run the risk of it looking, again, heavy and cakey. And when we're working on cameras, we want skin to look like skin. We want skin to look natural, flawless, and not heavily made up. And I feel like people want that on their day-to-day basis as well. We'd rather have that compliment of someone saying, wow, your skin looks amazing, as opposed to, oh, what foundation are you wearing? So in order to do that, take a neutralizer colour in one of these tones. So I'm going for DCN 45, and I'm just going to take that. You know, application is really simple and easy. You just want to pinpoint it over those unwanted colours on the skin. And this will prevent you having to apply more of your foundation. Okay, so that's that orangey, it's beautiful peachy tone. Go back to that little duo fibre brush and really just delicately buff and blend that through. Now, the stronger the pigment, the more layers you can apply. The less pigment, then just take a small wash of that. Like I always say, like a tint of colour. So you have other colours within the range, you know, your lavenders and your yellows. If someone's got a little bit more of a sallow skin, they would be perfect to brighten the skin or brighten the area. I quite like a yellow sometimes as well under the eye. If you've got more of that bluey shadow, if you've got more of that grey shadow, then stick with the peachy and orangey tones. So as you can see, I've got plenty of working time. It self-sets, and it really does also help to diminish and blur the texture. And this is the great innovation about this new range, Digital Complexion. Okay, so the next product I want to introduce to you from the Digital Complexion range is the Digital Complexion Fluid Foundation. For me, this has become an absolute game changer. As a working makeup artist, being in the industry for 15 years, working with high resolution cameras, you know, we've moved on from high definition now to 4K cameras and 4K plus. And what that does is give us more clarity and a clearer picture, which is great for the viewer, but not so great for us makeup artists. When we execute our makeups now, it has to be seamless. It has to be clear, clean, and crisp. So we can't get away with these heavier foundations because they almost look theatrical on the camera. They enhance texture, and that's all to do with the ingredients. So Krylon spent over 4 years developing this brand new range, and when they were making it, they were testing and trialing it with under all of the different cameras and seeing how the transition went from filming in 4K to then it being viewed on 4K and being filmed on 4K and being viewed on high definition. And the one thing that we noticed was a lot of shine would always reflect back with foundations, and texture. Pores and fine lines were always being enhanced. So the aim was to find a foundation that helped to blur that vision. And I think everyone that wears a foundation wants that for their skin naturally, not only from working in the media, but for your personal use. We never want our fine lines and pores and textures to be visible, and that is what this foundation will do. It will help to create and diminish any of that texture. It was almost creating like a filtered effect on the skin. It is beautiful and wonderful. So I'm going to demonstrate this on this side that we've already put the neutralizers on my face. It comes in this beautiful glass bottle. It's a silicone based foundation, so just always give that a little good shake prior to using. There's plenty of shades within the Digital Complexion range, and they range from your pink undertones, olive undertones, yellow undertones, your darker, richer complexions. So there's something there for everyone. And the color coding is so easy to define that as well, because the first letter will start off with the undertone, which is P for pink. So it's really easy as a makeup artist that you know, if you can work out with your client their shade, you know their undertone, you know which shade to go for, and you can just work up and down within the scale. So I'm just going to apply this with a foundation brush. You can use fingers, you can use sponge, and you know the preference of your application is really up to you. The foundation is so flawless and easy to apply that any application works really well. So I'm just going to start that in the center of my face. Again, this is a self-setting foundation. For me, this is more suitable now when working with a high resolution camera, because one of the products that always enhanced texture, not only texture on the skin, but texture of the product itself, was powder. So the fact that this self-sets now, I don't have to powder it. But what this means is what it means is that you can go back in and add a layer without it texturizing. You can build upon it or you can shear it down. It's super versatile in that aspect. So as you can see, it's so easy to apply, easy to blend. I'm not getting any sort of those foundation brush marks. It's seamless and it's easy, and I think a foundation that makes my working day easier, then I'm all up for that. Sign me up. It creates a matte finish on the skin, which is perfect. I cannot stress to you though, through experience of working with high resolution cameras, especially the new clarity now of, you know, it's such a high megapixel camera, it picks up shine as well. So naturally, okay, you might want to create a gorgeous dewy skin to your client's makeup, but the camera will enhance that twice as much. So realistically, keep it matte, and then you can pinpoint where you want to put that shine, and naturally your oils will push through. So when I hear the word a matte foundation, sometimes that can put me off, and I think, oh, is it going to be dry? Is it going to be dull to the skin? Absolutely not. This one here creates, I feel like, a satin finish, and already you can see the blurriness that it creates, and that's to do with the ingredients that Kryolan have placed in this foundation. As I mentioned, 4 years in the making of this brand new innovative line. The way that the pigments react with light and camera is that they reflect the light back in sort of many different directions. It's not just bouncing back in one. So what that does is where the light directs in many options, it diffuses the light. It's almost like putting like a softbox light onto the skin. So you're never going to sort of enhance these contours and lines, which, you know, naturally skin does have, but the cameras are enhancing it. We need to now strip it back, so you can rely on your foundation to do that. You can just see how quick and easy I've applied that, just gently buffing over, you know, taking it down my neck, over my ear. It's a great colour as well. Kryolan selected the colour choices from current foundations within the Kryolan range. They're bestsellers worldwide, so there's a great choice for all skin tones. So as you can already see between the two sides, I've reduced the redness. It's almost create like an airbrush filtered blurring effect on my skin, and then I have zero lighting on me at the moment. All I've got is natural daylight, so you are really seeing the full effects of the product naturally on camera. So this foundation, let's hold that back up for you again, the Fluid Digital Complexion foundation. This would be suitable if you want a medium coverage, but you can definitely build it up or you can shear it down, but I would say it's medium coverage. And it would be great if you've got more of like an oily skin, normal skin. But if you do have dry skin, you can still go for it. It really does care for the skin, and it plumps the skin within. So it helps to push out those sort of fine lines effectively on camera. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing the fluid foundation on my face on this one side, and can definitely see the comparison of the two sides. Now there is another alternative foundation, and that is the Digital Complexion Cream Foundation. This is also like a winner for me. This one creates medium coverage, but this is semi self-setting, whereas the fluid foundation was self-setting. So if you feel that you want that option to be able to go back in and add extra or build upon it, a little bit more shine to the skin maybe, then you can go for this one. It's a cream, but it's not like oily. As you can see, there's not much of a reflection or shine onto this. It's almost like a waxy consistency. This is more ideal and great for people that have that drier skin or that texture skin, maturer skin. This one really does help to blur out that texture on the skin when working on camera. So yeah, that's your other alternative, and the colours correspond with each other. So you can build them up. Say for example, like most people tend to have open pores along this part of the face, just along the cheek. This is going to be great. Or some people have combination skin, you know, they're dry in some areas but oily in others. Then you've got that option to play around with the two foundations. Now what both foundations have are functional fillers, okay? They have, so what that does is blur the top layer of the skin, which you can literally see as I'm applying it. It's brilliant. No longer do we need to put those filters on. And when I'm looking at myself in my mirror, my skin just looks like an improved and a better version of it. So if you want to build up a little bit more extra coverage, or where we've got those textures and the fine lines. I'm also going to use exactly this product, but in a different way now. And I hope you enjoy, you know, how diverse a product can be. I'm all about diversity within my product ranges. So the less I have to carry on set, the better for me. So I'm going to go for one of the darker shades, and I'm going to apply this now for my contouring, or to add a bit more glow and bronze to my skin. If you think about it, we're working on a high resolution camera, and we know that everything picks up texture and fine lines. So I need to ensure that my products are going to benefit me while working on camera. So I'm not now going to swap over to like a bronzer or a powder that's going to add the definition and sculpt the face, because I run that risk. Is it high resolution camera ready? So I'm going to stick within the range to do that. And I feel like working with creams really help to buff and blend and stop that harshness on the skin. I've experienced myself, and you know, let me know if you have too. When working on camera, I'll be in the makeup room, I'm doing the makeup, it looks seamless and flawless, then it goes onto camera and I've got this harsh contour, and I'm like, why has that happened? And it's because the camera enhances, and it's the way the products reflect and shine back. So you need to ensure that you're working with the products that won't have those effects, and you can rely on it and not have to waste time over blending, etc., or losing the clarity of the color or the product. So it's just, I feel like you've got a great safety net with this new range, knowing it's been trialed and tested with the new technology cameras, and they're only going to get more advanced as the years go on. And we so live, don't we, in this digital world now, especially over the last year. The whole world is online. So not only if you're, you know, as a professional makeup artist working in the media, but for ourselves, like, we're all in front of the camera a lot more than we used to be. You know, Zoom meetings, for example, today on this platform, you know, we're all on Skype calls to our family and friends. We all want to also look good on camera, because, you know, our iPhones, our Androids, the technology of them are advancing. So we also want to look prepared for it. So I absolutely love the finishing of my skin with this complete brand new line. Like when I take a selfie now, there's no longer need to put the Paris filter on. It just does the blurring for me there and then. So I'm just literally taking a really soft fluffy brush and just sculpting over my face, and a little bit of bronze around the hairline, underneath my cheekbone. I do like it to go a little bit more of a warmer glow to my skin because I'm so pale at the moment. I'm just going to blend that through. You can see all of the brushes that I'm using are our Blue Master range. They're completely vegan. And speaking of vegan, that is one thing I'd love to mention to you about the Digital Complexion range. The full range has been dermatologically tested and is completely vegan. I cannot wait to get this on this side because look at the difference. I've got redness, I've got pores, I've got texture, I've got pigmentation, and on this side it's just smooth and flawless. And you can see I've just applied, so you can see for yourself the results of it on camera. So now the fourth product I'm introducing you from the range is the Digital Complexion Concealers. So they're exactly the same formula as the neutralizers, but they're in a skin tone effect. So they contain those photo oils. Photo oils are what you see, you find a lot in serums. So it keeps the skin hydrated. So you're never going to get that dehydrated effect to the skin, which we don't want the camera to then pick that up. So I'm going to go for the shade that's exact to what my foundation was. So they correspond, which is really, really helpful. But if you want to go a couple of shades lighter, but I'm going to do a little bit of brightening with the neutralizer after I've concealed. So concealer, as you can see now, because I neutralized those two areas, you don't really see the pigmentation pushing through. So I don't need to put another layer of concealer. The only sort of shadow I'm starting to see pick up is just under my eye. So I'm going to take a little bit of that concealer underneath. So this is also silicone based, self-setting, so no need to powder. And I'm going to go with a nice fluffy brush and just either, you can pat it in or you can sweep it. And for me, this is phenomenal concealer, especially under the eye area. I know that when I'm working on set, experience that I've had in the past is I've used a concealer that's a little bit drying, and you know, it starts to pick up this texture in all the fine lines, and everyone has fine lines around this part of the skin. And some concealers could be a little bit drying and enhance that, or alternatively you want more of a hydrating concealer, but what happens because it doesn't self-set, it then starts to travel throughout the day and starts to sit in those fine lines or in those crow's feet. And I know through like my personal use, that's one area I'm so concerned about. I would use my little ring finger every 20-30 minutes. I'd be checking and tapping through, making sure I've blended the concealer, because this self-sets and it contains those phyto oils. I'm getting the hydration, but it sets into place. You know, it's not going to start to travel. And when working on set on a photo shoot, the less time that you have to go in for touch-ups, the better all round for everyone. And you can just rely that you've put it on the first time and it's going to stay into place. So that's great, just a hint of that. The skin's looking completely flawless through, you know, because the products are helping to achieve that. But I'm going to add a little brightness underneath that eye too. So I'm going back to the neutralizers. This is shade DCN43. This is like for me, I say this is like my brightening neutralizer. It has a bit more of a yellowy undertone, and I'm just going to almost highlight with this, but I don't want my highlight to be obvious. I just want to brighten some darker areas on my face. I just want a better improved version of my skin. I'm just going to layer that over the top. So that's what's great. All of these products are buildable, they're layerable. You're never going to get heavy and cakiness ever. You can keep applying, applying, applying. You will never build up that texture. A little brightening over this contour line. You know, I always almost use this like a little bit of an eraser as well, if I've gone a little bit heavy on the contour. If you don't want to use the neutralizers, you can definitely use the concealer range. and just pick a couple of shades lighter, or, you know, if you want to go a bit more pinky or yellow, depending on your skin complexion, you can do that with just the the concealers. I love that because it's just cleaned up and crisped my eye makeup well as well. So I'm going to pick up one of the neutralizers, one of the first ones I used for my pigmentation, and I showed you a couple of other tones within the range. Let me just quickly recap and show you them. These also work amazing as a blusher. I'm really into cream or fluid blushers because they look so much natural. They give that natural flush on the skin. You know, if you're doing a real close-up shot of the makeup, whether you're working on TV, film or photographic, and you just really want that natural flush to come through, the neutralizers are perfect. So this is the shade here. It's a really gorgeous peachy tone. So you can either go in with your fingers or take a nice soft fluffy brush. And I'm just going to put that over, just add a little colour into my cheeks. And I know, you know, within the range now that everything is going to be compatible when working on these high resolution cameras. It's all going to be blurring, filtered, that airbrushed effect, seamless. That's what you want, and easy to apply. I've also used the concealers as my base for my eye makeup because, you know, they self-set, so I'm never going to run that risk of the creasing in the natural crease of the eye. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of that over the top. Now, if you're using this product range as like an everyday makeup, then of course you can go over the top and add, you know, pearlescent or high beam highlighters if you want an extra glow and stuff. But you know, you're going to use those sort of products on the camera, you're going to have to sort of test and see how they reflect with the light. But on a day-to-day use, then, you know, you can build upon this with your other conventional products as well. Okay, and then the last product within the range is the finish powder. Okay, so this is your Digital Complexion finish powder. It comes in one, well, actually it doesn't come in a colour at all. It's completely translucent. So this will be suitable for all skin tones, okay? You're never gonna, if you're working on a richer, darker complexion, it won't go ashy. It's suitable for everyone. Now, the key part to remember of this powder, it's just a finish powder. So don't be baking or piling up powder if you wanna brighten the skin. This is literally to reduce any shine that the camera is picking up. So sometimes to the naked eye, you don't see this shine. So you'll be in the makeup room, the makeup's looking great, they go under the camera and shine can bounce back. Hence why all of the foundations and concealers are matte, because it's helping to control that shine. But for whatever reason, shine is still pushing through, this is when you'll go to your finish powder. I love to just work with these little duo fibre brushes again. It's got this great little net, like a mesh, so you've got control of how much powder you're going to pick up. So realistically, you would check how the makeup is looking on the monitor, on the camera, to pinpoint where there is shine bouncing back. So don't just look on the naked eye, and sometimes that naked eye just doesn't pick it up. Then this is when you'll go in, and this will also help to blur the skin. It will help to diminish fine lines and pores, which most powders on the market do the complete opposite. So it's very micronized and fine, and it will never leave that sort of chalky residue on the skin, which powders are prone to pick up on camera. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing the 4 brand new Digital Complexion range by Krylon, with the 2 comparisons of my makeup on either side. It really has made such a huge difference within my personal makeup, like, you know, giving me that confidence, and, you know, my insecurities of fine lines and textures and the makeup not enhancing that, but also when working in the TV and film industry, it really has great longevity, long lasting, and just creates that blurring, filtered effect without it looking heavy or cakey. So now I'm just going to repeat this on the other side so that you can see the full makeup complete. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. It's been an honour to do this demonstration for you virtually at IMATS 2021. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Krylon products, we do have a 30% discount code. That discount code is virtual IMATS 2021, all in capital letters, and you can receive a 30% discount minus obviously any of the sale products. If you have any questions about the new product range, Digital Complexion, we have a full team on board. So get your comments, questions across, and the team will help and support you to answer any of that. Also check out the Krylon website, visit our Instagram page. There is so much information. Even if you want to have a bit more of a thorough understanding of what's to be expected on these new high resolution cameras, there's so much information already out there for you. So thank you so much for joining. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon.